Well, I'll say, I've heard that he's chipping better, that he's chipping wonderfully, actually. So I'd love to see that.
How about Dustin says he hits the ball past him?
Yeah, again, I'll believe that when I see it.
Right.
I don't know that anybody drives the golf ball better than Dustin
Nor do
Johnson.
I. I couldn't even believe it to be true, but I mean, they're acting like it's a new Tiger. Is it possible?
Yeah, I guess so. So I've watched a lot, as we all have. I've seen the golf swings that have come in. And look, they're better than when he played there in 2016, that's sure. But they're still short, and they're very, very quick. He's in his 40s. He's had 1 million surgeries. He's had a fused back, and that's very understandable. When you hear, say, Dustin Johnson will say sometimes that he swings 85%. You hear a lot of tour pros say that, and it doesn't really strike the ear that believable. You're like, how can they hit it that far,
right?
And swing, with only 85%. But the fact is, they really do have a lot left in the tank. They do. They swing with some discretion. But I'm watching Tiger, and every swing looks like the tachometer is in the red. So I think he's swinging as hard as he can, almost as if to prove by distance that he is healthy.
But is he hitting it straight?
By all accounts, he's hitting some crooked shots and some straight ones, which is going to be expected. I expect to see some rust for sure. Do I expect to see him anywhere near what everybody else is saying? No, I don't.
Okay. Nor do I. And I just think, I hope it's true. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see it, but I just don't. I can't see that he'd be that good. The knee is a problem. You mentioned the back. I just wonder, but everyone is getting so excited the last couple of days, and it's almost taken on a life of its own. How much they're talking about he's pain free, and now he's back, and he looks like Tiger. I mean, I understand it'd be good for the sport, but it's hard to believe.
Well, if he's pain-free and he's yip-free, then that's great. That's great for golf, and it's great for Tiger Woods, because when he's been healthy, he's taken every single swing change and taken it to number one. 4 different swings, all of them went to number one. So he's now in his 5th iteration of a golf swing. So if he's healthy, maybe he still has time to work this new swing change out and take it all the way to number one. And nothing would be better for golf than that. Nothing. It would be, he's got some unfinished business to do. People talk about him catching Jack Nicklaus. That's unrealistic by a long shot, I think. But it is realistic to see him win 4 more tournaments and pass Sam Snead, which I think would be very fitting, that Tiger Woods would be the player with the most career wins on the PGA Tour, since he is, after all, in my opinion, and it's really not close, to be fair, and I'm a long-time rabid Jack Nicklaus fan. You couldn't find a bigger Jack Nicklaus fan than me. You can't find a bigger Jack Nicklaus fan than me, but really it's not close. Tiger Woods is the greatest player of all time by a wide margin.
You think he's better than Jack?
Well, look, his win percentage is 25%. Even if you stop at 78 for Jack Nicklaus, his win percentage is nowhere near that. And when Tiger Woods was at his best, he won by 12, by 15, by 8. Jack Nicklaus, when he was at his very best, if you take his largest margin of victory in each of the 4 majors, so when he was at his absolute best, okay, divide by 4, you get 5, okay? His average margin of victory, his average blowout margin was 5 shots. Tiger's was more than double that. His win percentage was more than double Jack Nicklaus's. You're talking about double the greatest player of all time. Double. Twice as good. Twice as good. So not even close. So really double. So does Tiger Woods he doesn't have 18 major championships, but when you start talking about the greatest player of all time, it's not just about major championships. If it was, then we would argue that John Daly and Lee Janzen were the equivalent player to Greg Norman. And clearly Greg Norman was one of the best players of all time with only 2 major championships.
Yeah, he was snake bit for whatever reason. So
he was. So it's not always just about major championships.
Not always, so but when you won as much as Jack, don't you think Jack played against, and this is always a hard thing to quantify, but it seemed to me that while the fields are deeper now, Jack played against better players than Tiger because he had not only Arnold, he had Miller, he had Tom Watson, he had Player, he had Trevino. He had a lot better guys than Tiger did to play against.
Well, I mean, and I've made that exact same argument years ago before I crunched the numbers and looked at it. And there's validity to that argument, Mike. No question about it. I think there is no equivalent to Arnold Palmer. What Arnold Palmer was to Jack Nicklaus in this generation. There's no equivalent.
The best player would be Phil, right? I would say, right? He'd be the best guy.
Yeah,
and
Phil,
he wasn't very competitive in the first 10 years against Tiger.
He wasn't. And he did become competitive,
right,
later. So the best, Phil is not Arnold Palmer. Phil is not Tom Watson. Phil is not, I would argue, not even Lee Trevino.
Oh, Gary
Player.
Right, yeah.
So you make a great argument, Mike. You really do. The only thing I could say that to even try to counter that, Mike, is to say that nobody saw Tiger coming. And what I mean by that is Phil Mickelson, Ernie Els, they were always going to be, and even David Duval I would throw into this, they were always going to be the best player of their generation. Like, you can find very few generations where they wouldn't have been the best player. But Tiger Woods was he was the 500-year flood. He was so unbelievably good that he emasculated everybody, that he caused everybody to change their golf swing, change their body, change the entire approach that they have to the game, and literally, and I could throw Sergio Garcia in this, like, nobody knew what to do with Tiger Woods. He was go back and look at the interviews of Ernie Els, who was, he was marvelous in handling these difficult questions about how are you going to beat this guy. And Ernie would say, look, we cannot beat him. Okay. There's just no beating him. So if Tiger hadn't been around, it might be that Phil Mickelson would have 8 major championships. It might be that Ernie Els would have 7 or 8 himself, because they were always going to have that many. They were that good a player.
Interesting. All right, so back to the Tiger we expect. Give me what Brandel Chamblee expects this Tiger Woods to be right now. What would be your expectation? What would surprise you?
He finished 17th the last time he played in the Hero. I think he'll do better than that. I think he'll drive it. His misses won't be as bad as the last time he played in the Hero. I don't think he'll have, the last time he made more birdies than anybody else, but he also had 6 double bogeys. So he'll have fewer double bogeys. He'll play better than he did last time, but he'll be scrappy and he'll be rusty, and that's completely understandable. I think, he's only been playing golf for 2 months, pain-free. Even when he was healthy, it took him 2 years to make swing changes. In 2004, Tiger Woods he did not win a medal play tournament all year. He won the match play, and that was it. And he was changing his golf swing. In 1998, he only won 1 time because he was changing his golf swing. If he was younger and healthier then and making a swing change caused that much of a fall-off in his play, what would you expect from somebody who's just come back from injury, who's 41 years of age? Of course, there's going to be a deficiency in his game at various places.
Do you think Tiger Woods can compete week in, week out, even for an abbreviated schedule for maybe 15 tournaments a year, counting the 4 majors, with the top 10 players in the world right now?
No, and I hope I'm wrong.
Okay.
No.
Could he win another? Would you be shocked if he won another major?
I would be flabbergasted.
Okay.
I would.
So would I. I have to admit, so would I. I'd be stunned if he did it 4 days in a row. Under that pressure, I'd be surprising.
It would be. So they made a movie about Ben Hogan's comeback,
right?
From the Follow the Sun.
Right.
They made that movie because he won the U.S. Open in 1950 after the accident in 1949. This would be. Look, I know Hogan almost died, but he didn't die. Okay. So what he had was a crushed pelvis, and they put him back together. But before that accident, he was playing the best golf of his life. Okay, so when he came back, he still had the ability. Once he regained his physical strength, and ability to walk,
right,
he still had the ability to play the best golf of his life.
The hard part was learning how to walk again. Once he did that, you're saying you knew the golf would come back.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
When Tiger last left the game, he was playing by far the worst golf of his career. So this would be a far bigger surprise than Ben Hogan winning the 1950 U.S. Open. They made a movie about Ben. They make a major motion picture about Tiger Woods.
Oh, it would be big. It would put golf at the top. Golf would be enormous if he started winning again. It would be amazing what it would do, especially with those young guys who can play at the top of this game now, and there are some good young players. And let me get to that for a second. As you start this year, the young player you count on this year to be really good at the top of this sport is whom?
Well, Jordan Spieth.
Which one? More than him over Thomas? More than him over any of the others? So you say right now he's the guy?
Yeah, I mean, look. There's an embarrassment of riches. There really is. I'm curious to watch Xander Schauffele come out and play this year. I'm really excited to watch Justin Thomas. I love his golf game. And when you say young guys, so that kept me from saying Dustin Johnson.
Right, who I still think could be he really never regained it. He at the Masters, he was about taking off on a level we haven't seen in a long time before the Masters.
Well, he had the biggest, gap between himself and the number 2 ranked player in the world since Tiger Woods.
Yep, so he was playing great until he got hurt. He never recovered.
He was playing the closest golf to Tiger Woods that I have seen since Tiger Woods' departure, really in 2009. And I'm talking about driving it long, great irons, and every shot around the bag. So I'd love to see Dustin Johnson find that form again. I was saying in 2009, Dustin Johnson was going straight to the Hall of Fame, and that's where he's going.
Oh, yes, I agree.
Because, he has the ability to win more than a handful of major championships. Look, I know he's 31, 32, so we're talking really about another 5-year stretch. That's 20 majors. Could he win 3 or 4 of them? Absolutely, he could. He's that amazing. I mean, everything that guy does makes you drop your draw. It just absolutely he's a freak show.
You think Thomas's game is better all around than Spieth's?
No, I think Spieth's game is better. I mean, Justin Thomas is more explosive, and he's we're talking about 2 great players. I just think Jordan Spieth at the end of his career will have more major championships. There's something between his ears that Tiger Woods had, and he hits his irons better than anybody, and that is the difference maker more than anything. Distance is why we say distance matters more than anything, because it gets you to a spot where you can hit short irons where everybody else is hitting mid irons, and Jordan Spieth can do with his mid irons what most people hope to do with their short irons. So he's that good.
And how about McIlroy? What are you expecting from him?
I think he'll find form again. At the end of last year, he was chipping well. He's taken a nice break from the game of golf. I think he'll come back, and I think he'll be closer to the Rory McIlroy that we saw in 2012 and 13. I think he kind of lost a little bit of his way on the greens, and it's taken him a while to sort of sort that out. He sort of changed his putting stroke, and he did change his putting stroke, and then he's been trying to figure out how to get back to home base, so to speak. And I think he's figured that all out. And we're easy to forget because he hasn't won a major in a few years, and we've been talking about Spieth and Justin and Dustin. But meanwhile, Rory McIlroy comes back with a chance to win the Grand Slam at the Masters, and he was in a position to do it last year.
I tell you, great young players. A good group really there. I mean, there's a very
great guys.
Yeah, really is good players too. Really is. If you could sprinkle Tiger Woods in there'd still be a lot of fun. It really would.
It would be, no question. Look, everybody in golf is pulling for Tiger Woods to come back because he's that exciting to watch play, and we thought we were going to see it another 10 years, and it went away. And as a broadcaster, he just hand delivers the best stories you've ever seen right to your table.
Well, listen, thanks for coming on. We'll be watching. Thanks very much. Appreciate it, Brandel.
Of course,
Thank
Mike.
you. My
Take
pleasure.
Care. Bye-bye.
Brandel Chamblee, always on Tiger Woods. Very good golf analyst. Here you go. Hero World Challenge. Here's